Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 942 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine's defense minister Rustem Umerov said that Kyiv expects partners to supply French Mirage 2000 jets while also discussing the provision of Swedish Saab Jas-39 Gripen and German-British Eurofighter Typhoon, reports Radio Liberty. He stressed that partners have already committed to supply F-16s as well as Mirage 2000s to Ukraine. According to Umerov, the ministry previously focused on pilot training, fighter infrastructure and operational platforms, but now seeks for air superiority over the Russian armed forces. Quote, "We worked last year to focus on pilot training, platform acquisition and infrastructure development. And this year we will focus on how to grow it enough to get an advantage over the enemy in the air," unquote, Umerov said. He estimated that the enemy uses up to 300 planes and 300 helicopters, so Kyiv notified its partners how many brigades or jets it needs. Ukraine has already started to receive F-16s, and one of them was even lost in action. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy started his visit to the US. In his evening video address, the president informed that he will visit New York and Washington. Quote, "This fall will determine what comes next in this war. Together with our partners, we can strengthen our position as needed for our victory, our shared victory, for a truly just peace," unquote, said Zelenskyy. In the United States, Ukraine will present its plan for victory, and the US president will be the first to see it in full. Also, the plan will be shown to all leaders of partner countries, Congress, and both US presidential candidates. The Ukrainian leader stressed that the US has the power to help Ukraine implement the plan. In an interview with The New Yorker, Zelenskyy said that the possibility of US President Joe Biden not supporting Ukraine's victory plan is a quote-unquote horrible thought, because that would lead to a very long war with a huge number of casualties, reports Espresso. Zelenskyy said that the victory plan was designed with President Biden's support in mind. Quote, "If he refuses, well, then we must continue to live inside Plan B, the war as Ukraine has experienced it so far. And that's unfortunate," unquote. The president stressed that the objective of the victory plan is to swiftly strengthen Ukraine, and strong Ukraine will force Putin to the negotiating table. Quote, "I'm convinced of that. It's just that before I was only saying it, and now I've put it all on paper, with specific arguments and specific steps to strengthen Ukraine during the months of October, November, and December, and to enable a diplomatic end of the war," unquote, Zelenskyy said. Volodymyr Zelenskyy also commented on the so-called plan for ending the war in Ukraine put forward by Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance. He called it quote-unquote an awful idea that could lead to a global conflict. Quote, "His message seems to be that Ukraine must make a sacrifice. This brings us back to the question of the cost and who shoulders it. The idea that the world should end this war at Ukraine's expense is unacceptable." Zelenskyy noted that Vance's initiative is a dangerous signal for Ukraine. Quote, "I should say that it hasn't been like this with Trump. He and I talked on the phone, and his message was as supportive as it could be from my point of view. I understand, I will lend support, and so on," unquote, the Ukrainian leader added. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. New satellite images of the Russian Ministry of Defense's ammunition warehouses in the city of Toropka, Tver region, show that more than 58 buildings, several open areas with ammunition were destroyed. The railway was damaged and ammunition trains were destroyed, reports Ukrainska Pravda. An American OSINT researcher under the nickname M.T. Anderson posted those pictures. After the attack of Ukrainian drones on September 18th, there was a fire and detonation at the ammunition arsenal in Toropka, so the previous satellite images were not clear. In 4 days, the smoke cleared, and now you can see that the northern part of the depot was heavily damaged. More than 58 warehouse buildings and several open areas were reduced to ashes or badly damaged. Areas for loading ammunition to the railway were also affected. OSINT analysts believe that there were ammunition trains there at the time of the strike. Thank you for listening to the Highlights of Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.